We're looking at taking simple shapes and creating forms out of them. So we want to take something that's a simple shape, kind of like a circle, and we want to turn it into a form by adding value to it, or maybe even adding other shapes to it. So similar to what we did in the value and texture circle assignment, where we're just going to kind of play around with the transformation from shapes to forms, okay? So everything I do is going to be freehand. It's pretty simple. You can use a template for a circle if you want to, like we did in the other ones, but honestly, you'll get more out of it if you just practice drawing freehand. Remember, this does not have to be perfect, okay? So notice how I'm doing this. This is how I sketch. I use a series of light lines, and the more I put down, the darker it gets, okay? So this is going to be like my circle. Now, as I start, I want to basically just add value to my circle. So a circle plus shading, okay, value. This is going to equal a sphere. So when I go in again, and I'll do my circle, and that's very light. You guys, I hope you can see it on video, man. All right, so all I'm going to do now, I'm going to pretend like my light is coming from over here on the left. And I'm just going to go in and do some of those techniques that we did before, just kind of darken it up. I'm just using a simple random line shading technique. I'm not getting fancy with the hatching or the cross hatching or anything. I'm just kind of using those contour lines. And now I'm going to go around with a weighted line. So you can see how it looks like it's lighter here and darker on this side because my light's coming from there. So that means I got shadow over here, okay? So no big deal, just a good shadow. Change it from a flat shape, a circle, adding some value, and now it looks more 3D. So it turns from a shape to a form, a circle to a sphere, okay? And I can add cast shadows on the bottom. You don't really have to in this drawing exercise. This is just practice. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down and I'm going to look at my next shape. This is going to be really simple. So this is going to be a triangle, okay? And so I'm just kind of drawing this one like this, just very similar to what I did with a circle. So this is my triangle, and I'm labeling them for educational purposes so you guys know what's going on. Now, if I take my triangle and I add another shape to it, maybe I add a circle to it, okay? So I got a triangle and I add, that's what that plus sign is for. If I got a triangle and I add a circle to it, that's going to equal boom, 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 circle. Look at that. So, well, it's kind of like an oval. So we're going to do a circle or oval. Let's just keep it real. Okay, so my triangle here, I took the bottom off, but I added a circle or an oval to it. And now that makes a cone, okay? So it goes from, and these lines ain't straight, man, but you know, that's why God made erasers. So we're all good there. So I could even go in when I'm adding my shading inside. I could put my shading in here. Remember, my light's coming from over on the side. So I'm gonna make it dark. Let's just go for it, dude. Okay. So there we go. All right. Cool. That looks good enough. Let me just shade this side because I'm a maniac and I got to do it right. Okay. Now, so there's a cone, okay? So I got a triangle, I added a circle or an oval to it, and then it makes a cone. Now, it looks like I can look up inside of this deal. Like if this was an ice cream cone or one of those paper snow cone holders, you could look inside of it and it's open inside. You know, paper snow cone holders, they always leak, man. Y'all ever notice that? They leak on me at least. Okay. All right, so we're using our geometric shapes. We got a circle, we added some shading, we made a sphere. We're using triangle, we had another geometric shape, a circle or an oval, and we made a cone, okay? So now if I go into something, let's stick with the triangle because this is another easy one that everybody likes to learn. It's weird, man. Super simple, but hey, We got to do it. We got to learn how to do it. So I take this kind of triangle. Now I don't really remember from geometry what this is called, but there's a certain name for this triangle. So maybe you know, but I don't. All right, so I got this triangle here. And what I'm going to do is get crazy, okay? I'm going to add it to another triangle, but the triangle I use here is going to be shaped a little bit different, okay? So I always like to use food references because I'm hungry most of the time. I know some of you are too. I understand, I get it. So I got a triangle that's shaped like this, and then I'm going to add a triangle that's kind of got a different angled shape. So this would be, I guess, like a pizza slice. And let's just call this one a nacho, okay? It's a nacho chip. So what I do now, look, I make my pizza slice triangle, boom, pretty simple. And I add my nacho to it. So boom, on this side, there's my nacho shape. Oh, wow, I just made a pyramid. So I got a pyramid. Very, very easy. And I forgot to label my cone. Let's label that. Okay, so my pyramid here. Now if I'm going to shade it, let's pretend that the light's coming from this side again. Look at there. I'm just going to use a simple shading technique here with a pencil, and look, boom, nice little shadow over on the right side of that triangle. Oh, right side of that pyramid, excuse me. Okay, now this one I'm going to show you, this is just a simple square for the geometric shape. So, look, man, I'm freehanding it, so it's not a perfect square, so y'all quit joking on me, okay? I know y'all's are messed up too. It's okay. All right, so there's a square. Now, what I'm going to do is add another square to it. Okay, this is going to be crazy, crazy. All right, square. So a square plus a square, what I'm going to do is make a cube here. Now, look, here's an easy way to do this. Some people get all confused and they start making crazy lines every which way. Just listen to me. I'm going to show you the easiest way. So I'm going to make one square here. I'm not going to make really super sketchy lines with this. I want this kind of clean so you guys can see it. So I got a square here, okay? Now we're going to use what's called an overlapping technique where I put one object in front of another object. So watch this. As I go over here, I got my first square, which is already over here, plus my second square, which is going to go behind it. So check this out. If the square is a solid object, okay, this is a solid object, dudes, I cannot see through it, okay? I cannot see through it. So I draw one square behind the other square. And now all I got to do is use a simple diagonal line to connect the corners. Now, I know some of y'all are saying this, you're like, Mr. Lawton, those lines are terrible. Well, yeah, they are, because I'm not using a ruler. I'm freehanding it, trying to be courageous here. And now all I'm going to do is I want to get rid of that edge, so I'm going to use my handy dandy eraser. I want to get rid of that edge, that line, once again using my eraser. Now, if I did use a ruler, my lines will look a whole lot better. You'll find out about that in the next lesson when we start doing perspective drawing. But for this one, you can freehand it. And look, boom, I made a cube, man, a cube, okay? So now, on my cube, I'm going to look at it like the light's coming from over here again. All I got to do is be real cool about it. Go over here and just kind of color in some shadow. I can make it darker if I wanted to. That means that the light will be super strong coming from that side. But I'm just going to use a middle gray, which is not super dark, okay? So I'm shading the side, the right side, and I'm shading the bottom. So it gives me shadow, similar to what I did in these guys up here, all right? Now, for my last shape, I'm going to use a rectangle. And I'm going to show you two different ways to do a rectangle because they're kind of versatile and pretty cool on the way you can use them. And, well, I won't run out of room. I was just thinking that I was going to run out of room on my paper, but it ain't going to happen. Not today. All right, I got a rectangle here, but what I'm going to add to it is another rectangle. All right, now here's how simple this is. And once again, I'm not using a ruler, so everything's kind of wonky freehanding it. So I got one rectangle, I add it, to another rectangle, and it's going to equal this. So it's going to give me a rectangular cube. Oh, that's terrible. Look at that line. Good Lord. Okay, let's get rid of that. Okay, that's still bad, but it's okay. All right, so I got my first rectangle here. I'm going to do just like I did down in here, guys. I'm going to do just like I did here, okay? Same thing, except I'm using rectangles now. So I'm going to add my other rectangle here so that it looks like it's behind the first one. And look at that, bingo. Okay, that's good enough. Now I'm going to go from corner to corner, make my line here to connect it. Corner to corner, make my line here to connect it. Now remember, these are diagonal lines. They're angles, all right? Same thing here, this corner to this corner, and I'm gonna connect it, and there we go. Now remember, just like I did in the cube here, okay? I'm gonna do the same thing for the rectangular cube. I'm gonna get rid of this little straight line right there. So I gotta flip my pencil around, use the eraser. And there we go. Same thing here, okay? I get rid of that straight line, that's a vertical line there. I had to think about it for a minute. Crazy. All right, now, boom, I got a rectangular cube. So once again, if my light's coming from over here, I just use a simple shading technique. And I'm gonna go for the side and the bottom to make it look like it's darker, that it's sitting in shadow. So you kind of get how that works. Now, this is a cube here, okay? This is also a cube. This will be called a square cube, all right? This will be called a rectangular cube. Now, some of you smart people tell me why. Exactly, because this one's a square and because this one's a rectangle. Y'all are smart. All right, last thing for the rectangle, okay? Now I'm gonna switch the position. So I'm gonna take this rectangle that I had drawn that way, horizontally, I'm gonna flip it up so it's vertical now, up and down. So watch this. And I bet some of you already know what I'm gonna do. It ain't really magic. It's just drawing, man. Okay, so there's a, oh, that's bad. That's terrible. All right, so we got another rectangle. Okay, now it's going tall, the tall way, vertical, okay? Now, what I'm gonna do to this, check this out, man. Some of y'all are gonna be like, whoa, wow. Well, it's pretty easy. So rectangle here, and I'm gonna add, like I did here, I'm gonna add either a circle or an oval. As long as it's a rounded shape, it really doesn't matter. Either one of them is gonna work, circle or oval. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna just draw a rounded shape there. So rectangle plus circle or oval equals, now, when I do my rectangle here, I don't want to do a lot of erasing. So what I'm going to do is just draw two vertical lines, just like how I would have here in this rectangle. But then I'm going to go to the top and look, I'm going to connect them like that and make that circle or oval shape, okay? Then I'm going to go to the bottom and I'm going to make a curve. Now, I could go in there and do that. You see how I did that? But I don't really want it because I want the top to be open. So I'm gonna make a cylinder, and this is like a cup, or this could be like a pipe, or I don't know, anything that's hollow on the inside, okay? So, boom, look at that, cylinder, man. Now, when I shade this one, it's gonna work actually very similar to what I did on the cone here, okay? So I'm gonna just go ahead and shade the side on the outside first. And I'm gonna make this one dark so you can really see the value on it, man. I just feel like doing that right now. I'll come over and it's gonna go lighter and lighter and lighter. I'm doing easy, look, I got a middle grip on my pencil, okay? And it's going lighter as I get to the middle. Now, we talked about grips in an earlier lesson. Low grip for heavy pressure and dark values, middle grip for middle values and lighter pressure, and then a high grip for like super light stuff. But the more you draw, you can really use that middle grip for almost anything, okay? So I got a dark shadow over here. Look how dark that is. Let me go in there and make my weighted line super dark. I'm getting pumped up about this. It's making me excited, bro. Okay, now right here on this one, I'm gonna go on a curve, and it's gonna be dark on this side. And I'm gonna make it a little bit lighter as it goes through. So very, Very simple way to make forms from shapes. So circles and values to make spheres, triangles and circles or ovals for cones, triangles and a different type of triangle for pyramids, two squares for a square cube. We got rectangles for a rectangular cube, and then rectangles plus circles or ovals for a cylinder. Okay, so you guys, I want you to go through, I want you to practice this. That is going to help you understand how to create basic forms from basic shapes.